talk about business cards. How many of you have them? You have them, you pass them out, you get them back from people. This tends to be people's MO. That you get a card, you're like, oh, thanks. You put it in your pocket, you put it in your purse, you put it in whatever. When someone hands you a business card, you want to act like they just handed you, their firstborn's photograph. Right? It's their baby. It's their business. When someone hands you that card, look at it. Oh, that's wonderful. Jane, you work for the state. I didn't realize that. How exciting. You work for ABC Company. I've heard great things about your company. What is it you do for them? Show interest in it. When we're going to a network event, have you seen those people? They're acting like a dealer at Vegas. They're just throwing cards everywhere, right? We've been there. What does that say about them? Anybody? What do you expect is going to happen if you give them your card?
They're probably just going to flip it.
They might try to give it away.
Yeah, they might give it to someone else,
Yeah.
or you're going to end up on their spam list.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, that's what happens. And if people see you as that person that's just walking around throwing cards at everybody, they're thinking, oh, I don't want on her list. I don't want to give her my card. Okay, let's talk about a few tips for the business card. What do you do when you get someone's card?
Sometimes I'll read it. I'll have to make a little conversation, but I also like to take notes because when I'm at a networking event, I'm meeting a lot of people theoretically, and so I want to make sure that I know, like if I promised to send something or if I wanted to follow up on a reason. So I like when you can actually write on the business card.
Excellent point. I highly recommend that. Have several different business card cases that you carry with you. One for yours. I've seen people have their business cards in rubber bands and clips just shoved in their pocket, and they go to hand it to you and it's all crinkled up. You're like, how long has this been living in your pocket? It's like, come on, right? You have yours in one. Mine is, of course, a little blingy, gotta be me. But what's nice about it is it's two-sided. So when I'm at an event, mine are on one side, whoever I receive from are on the other side, so I can keep them straight. At the end of an event, when I go home, I take all of those that I got at that event and actually put the date on it, where I met them, right then and there. The other thing I've done is I'll carry just a completely empty one. And when I get cards, they all go in there. And I know that's from a specific event. Because how many of us we are at a breakfast meeting and then we're at a lunch meeting, especially those in outside sales, right? You're everywhere. That's a good way to keep it straight. And then when you get, and on the inside, you can put a little Post-it note, the date, the whatever. That way you can keep them straight. And these are cheap enough at the Office Max, whatever. Okay. Is this helpful?
Yeah,
Yes, very.
absolutely.
Excellent. Excellent.
So what do you do, Becky, if you're with like a group? Because I know, like, I've heard the Japanese people, if you're at an event, they have a very particular way of presenting business cards. So what do you do if you're at, is there a way to properly present your card?
There is, and a lot of that, and I'm glad you brought that up, thank you, is cultural differences. Everything that I'm teaching you today is American business etiquette. Please know, if you're going to another country, talk to me, I will help you, because it is very different in different countries. And Natalie was right. Japanese, they hand you the card two-handed, you take it, and that's exactly it. You cradle that as if it were their firstborn child, right? Or their dog, whichever they like better. For me, anyways. We won't go there. Exactly. And I've also heard there was some controversy. Do you write on the back of someone's card? That's their card. They've just given it to you. I've given it to you. That's my gift to you. What you do with it is your choice. I don't have a problem writing on the back. And my cards are actually, they're nice and shiny on the front, but they're matte on the back so they can be written on. Exactly. I know sometimes they're all glossy and pretty and you can't write on them. That's also, they make nice little tiny Post-it notes. Put a couple of them in your thing, and then you can just put a Post-it note on the back of their card and write on it that way. Excellent.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let's talk about the all-important handshake. How many of you have gotten that wet fish handshake, that limp biscuit? You're like, really? All right.
Or the 2 finger.
Yeah, the 2-finger thing. Natalie, would you mind helping? Demonstrate. Okay, so what we're talking about is that 2-finger thing. Somebody like hands you 2 fingers. You're like, what the heck is that?
Especially guys with big hands, you go in for like a real handshake and they're like,
Yeah, you're like, what the heck just happened here, right? A proper handshake is web to web. So thumb to thumb, web to web, cup each other's hands, pump it 2 or 3 times, 2 to 3 seconds. Looking someone straight in the eye as you're doing it. Nice to meet you, Natalie.
That's what you too.
Okay? Let's talk about some of the other things people do. Have you ever had this one? They're putting, break your arm in the process. They put their finger up your arm as they shake your hand. It's a control mechanism. They're letting you know, I'm in control of you, I have a hold of your pulse.
Not when I crush you.
Not when you have the bone crusher, right? Exactly. I came from a very male-dominated field working with construction workers, and I got that a lot. They were like, hey, and I'm like, I gave it back. And they're like, whoa. It's that power struggle. Here's the other one you'll see. You'll see this a lot with politicians. Again, I'm in control of you. I'm going to tell you where to go, okay?
Yeah.
That's what they're letting you know. What are some of the other ones that you've received?
These weird ones, like when I used to work in Mexico, and there would be this elaborate thing, and I was like, what do you do?
Oh.
Yeah. Right? Yes, Ed.
One we see a lot too is that I'm shaking your hand, I'm looking around to see who's more important than you are.
Yes.
So just perfunctory attention. Seeing who's better.
Exactly. Exactly. Shaking someone's hand but looking around elsewhere. Thank you, Natalie. Looking around elsewhere to see, is there who do I want to talk to next? Who do I want to meet next? When you're meeting someone, let them know they are the most important thing in that moment in time to you. That can speak volumes, right? Again, you never know who's your next client, who's your next employer, who's your next business partner. You never know. Okay. Knowing when to shake hands and not to shake hands. Again, American business rule is when in doubt, shake hands. Now let's say we pass each other in the airport, right? We're both busy executives, we're passing each other in the airport. I've got bags everywhere and things hanging off of my shoulders, and your hands are free because you know how to travel better than me, I guess. And you walk up, hey, Becky, my hands are full. That actually shows poor class on your part, right? Allow someone to save face. Don't expect, well, Natalie, you didn't stand up when I said hi to you and shook your hand. Natalie stayed seated. Okay, we all know, especially now, that's the thing to do is you raise when someone's shaking your hand, but you don't call somebody out on it. You allow them to save face. Let's talk about names. How many of you have been at an event, you see someone that you know, you've seen them before. Maybe it was a year ago at this same convention or event. You cannot for the life of you remember their name, but you know them, right? Yeah, we've done this. I can hear that. Yeah, you're going, oh my gosh, how did she know?
Yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. I'll tell you the proper way. We'll see if you saved face or not. We'll see. You don't have to admit it if you didn't, but that's okay. Now, if I'm approaching someone, and say it's Tony, and I know I've met Tony, but I don't remember, I can go up, hi, Becky Spohn, I believe we met last year. And Tony's response would be, yes, we did, and introduce himself with his name. Yes, we did. Go ahead.
Why don't you say, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
That comes next. If someone comes up to you and says, my name is Becky Spohn, we met last year at the conference. Yes, my name is Ed Scannell, it was nice to meet you, nice to see you again. That is the way to save face. So if someone comes at you and does that, that's their polite way of saying, I don't remember your name.
But I remember you.
But please help me, I remember you.
Yeah.
And if you can remember something you talked about, oh, we talked about hiking and, we talked about this, they're like, okay, she really does remember me. That next step, if they don't pick up on the clue and give you their name, that's when you say, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Can you please remind me of your name? That's better than going the whole event. Now, how many of us have done that? You go the whole event going, do you remember what his name is? Do you know his name? Because we all know those name tags flip around, when you've got the name tag things or they peel up or whatever, and you're like, what is his name? Just ask. That allows everyone to save
One
face.
tip I learned a long time ago, on the very point you're making, is that you walk up and say, I'm sorry, I forgot, what was that name again? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, Tony. No, I knew that, I meant your last name. Or if you say your last, I knew that, I meant your
That's
first
good.
name.
Yes.
More times than not, people give you one or the other. You say, what was that name again?
Excellent, excellent. I appreciate that.
That's good.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, asking them.
Ed, my name is Joe. Who are you calling Ed?
Oh, no! Yeah, it's the Ed Scannell. That's the other thing. Know who you're approaching before you approach them. In other words, if they are the CEO of a Fortune 100 company and they're surrounded by people and they're having a deep business conversation, don't walk into the middle of them and go, hey, oh my God, like trying to zigzag through the people to shake hands with them. Wait. Again, it shows poor business on your part that you're more important than anybody else they're talking to at the moment. And we'll get into a little bit of body language later today, and we'll talk about looking at their feet. Where are their feet pointing? Who do you talk to when? We'll talk about that later. Sound good? Yes, sir.
What do you suggest for a person who sees you and says your name, like, oh, hey, and you're like,
Who the heck is that?
who are you? And you don't have a mental recollection of who they are.
Exactly.
What would you suggest in that situation?
Great question. So they are coming at you and, oh my gosh, Tony, it's so good to see you. Tony has no idea who I am. That's when Tony can say very politely, please remind me where we met. Please remind me. And again, if I'm the person on the other end, I'm allowing them to say face. I'm not, hopefully, they are not going to say, I can't believe you don't know me. We've met 6 times.
I'm your husband, not me.
Yeah, really, I'm your husband. Woohoo! Really, I've been waiting to meet him a long time. I still, yeah, exactly. So it is a two-way street. You allow someone else to save face, and you help someone else save face. Does that make sense? Are we working it?